Hey guys, Zylock here, back for another Paragon video. This is going to be my first in a series of hero and deck building guides. So, the first one I want to start with is Grux. I've been really enjoying playing this hero lately. He has playmaking potential, carry potential, and overall he's just a lot of fun to play. So I'm going to go over his abilities in his kit. I'm going to show you a beginner deck for those of you that are just starting out, an advanced deck for those of you that may have a better card selection, and then I'm going to show you guys those decks in action with some actual gameplay footage. So his passive is only the strong survive. This is going to give you some extra health whenever you last hit a unit, which is a minion or another hero. So just passively gives you some health throughout the game, which is nice. Basic attack is Chop. It's going to be a little over 38 damage. Not super impressive, roughly middle of the road, definitely not the worst in terms of damage. And it is fairly quick at 1.15 seconds, which is nice. Double Pain is going to be a frontward swipe. He's going to swipe at all the enemies in front of him, dealing damage and applying a bleed stack, which is nice. Smash and Grab is his bread and butter. This is the ability that you want to max first. It starts off with 80 damage and scales well with each ability point, so you gain a good amount of damage. It's an AoE cone which hits everything in front of him and also pulls it in, so you can use this to catch people out, start team fights, and wave clear. Charge will get you in and out of situations as needed. If you want to engage a fight, you can use this to literally charge in and either smash and grab or use your ultimate or vice versa. Or if you're getting attacked or ganked, you can use charge to get out of harm's way and get back to your tower or just out of the enemy's attack range. Warlord's Challenge is going to be his ultimate. It is a brief AoE stun followed by a damage boost on his basic attacks, and he will apply bleed stacks as well. So overall with his kit, I think it's got some good versatility. I believe he is best suited as a bruiser, so not full tank, not full damage, but more of a hybrid build. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about here. So let's go over to decks. We're going to start with the Grux beginner guide, and I have everything kind of in here. You're going to see more cards than you can actually hold in game. The reason for that is I like to do sort of a core build of 5 cards with upgrades, and then your last slot can be situational. So for Grux, I like to start with Amulet of the Veteran, and I'm going to do 2 major strikes and a greater health upgrade. That's going to give you some nice damage and health at the beginning of the game to kind of get the build rolling. After that, you want to go into a Windcarver Blade with 2 strikes and a kinetic. I like to do the smaller upgrades on my second card just so I can get the fully upgraded bonus faster and get a little bit of momentum going. Third and fourth item are going to be your tank items, so it's going to be your tempered plate and your tuned barrier. Now, depending on the enemy's team composition, you can build one before the other. If they've got a Murdoch and a Grim that are running rampant, you're going to want the tuned barrier first for the energy armor. And if they have a lot of physical damage, you're going to want the tempered plate for protecting against that. So both of them are going to be 2 defensive items and a health respectively, so 2 guards and a health or 2 barriers and a health. Build this as your third and fourth item, and lastly, once you've got some health, some damage, and some durability, you want to build some more damage so you're more effective in these fights. So go with the Spear of the Rift Hunter. You're going to want 2 major strikes and a major wound. That'll give you a little bit of crit chance and some extra damage. Now for the final slot, like I said, it's up to you. Depending on what you feel that you need or what your team needs, you can go with an Adamant Edge for a little bit of extra health and damage. You can go with another Windcarver Blade to give you some more dueling or fighting potential. If you notice that nobody is handling the Harvesters, you can build a Lord's Key. Diversify, give yourself some CDR, some health, and some mana. So depending on what the situation entails, you can build accordingly. The most important thing is the first 5 cards with those specific upgrades that I showed you is going to give you 51 points in your deck. So your last slot, you'll have 9 points to play with because 60 is the max amount of card points you can get in game. So just always be aware of what cards you're using and what upgrades you're using. You can't just put major upgrades, 3-point upgrades on everything, because you're going to run out of points. You won't be able to build your final card. And then lastly, the consumables. It's always good to have a health potion, mana potion, harvester's key, and scout's ward. These are going to be your essentials for any deck. And in terms of the prime card for Grux, I like the Centurion because I think the health suits him really, really nicely when you do get that OP buff. So the advanced deck, which I'm going to show you now, is going to be as follows. So this is for those of you that have opened a few card packs and maybe have a little bit more of a selection to choose from. So with this specific build, I like to start Windcarver Blade with 2 major strikes and a major or brutal kinetic. Either one's a 3.1. So that's going to give you some damage and attack speed. After that, you want an Amulet of the Veteran. Because the fully upgraded bonus gives you the extra 200 health on this item, I like to go 3 strikes to give you some damage, and then when you finalize it, you get the passive health anyway. Again, you're going to want your tank items, but before that, I like to build Brand of the Iron Eater. This is going to give you lifesteal and crit chance, both of which are going to be extremely useful, especially the lifesteal, which I'll explain in a minute. So for this one, Dire Drain, Wound, and Minor Wound. If you don't have those specific ones, you can just do any combination of upgrades that gives you 7 points. So you can do, a 3-point lifesteal and 2 wounds, for example. Whatever you have that'll equal 8 points in your upgrades. So the lifesteal is super effective on Grux for the reason that when you build him tank, if you're fighting another enemy hero, you're both going to be damaging each other. However, while you're fighting, you are potentially applying bleed stacks to them and draining them faster. They're doing less damage to you because of your tank items, and you're healing yourself with your lifesteal during the fight. So he's a really good duelist and a really good frontliner for those reasons. Again, you want the tank items, so 4th and 5th items are going to be Tempered Plate and Toon Barrier. Build them whichever one you need first, depending on the enemy's team composition. Again, same thing as the other deck. It's going to be 2 barriers and a health and 2 guards and a health. And then the last items, again, are going to be situational. This build leaves you with 49 points, so in this example you have 11 points to play with for your final slot. I really like to put a Voidsteel Dagger on because it gives you some armor penetration, which is really, really useful. If they have a frontline tank and you guys are both fighting one another, you want to be able to shred through their front line faster than they can shred through you, so that your team can overtake them. So the physical penetration is really, really useful. If they've got like a frontline Rampage or a Sevarog that's just wreaking havoc, you'll be able to shred through them with that. If you're ahead and they don't have a super beefy tank, you always can build another Windcarver Blade. In this case, I like to go full attack speed, because at this point you've already got some damage and crit. So the faster you attack, the more damage you're going to be dealing, and the more life steal you're going to be utilizing. So Vicious Kinetic and 2 Kinetics on the Windcarver Blade. Or if you feel like you need a little bit of CDR and you're running out of mana, you can throw a Chrono Spike on. Gives you some cooldown reduction when it's upgraded, some more damage, and some mana as well. I like to go 2 major strikes and a mana. Again, you want your Centurion for the prime card. I think the health is really useful. And I have a couple of these 1-drop, 1-point consumables here. So again, your health and mana potion and harvester key are going to be critical. But I also like to throw in a barrier token, a guard token, a bump juice for some quick health, and then a health token. The health token, if you can get your hands on one of these, they're extremely useful. That early game 100 health is so useful for those quick early skirmishes in the jungle. You can chase somebody down and get a kill without worrying about dying as much, or you can get out of harm's way if you get ganked early. So that's my advanced Grux build. I do want to show you guys the build in action, so I'm going to show you guys me in game using this deck, hopefully going ham and getting some work done. So let's go over to that. So this is fairly early in the game, little over 9 minutes in. I've gone back and gotten my first item, that Windcarver Blade, already. I'm rushing up the mid lane, and I want to show you guys just how strong Grux's initiation can be. This guy overextends a bit, so I'm going to use Smash and Grab and immediately ulti to stun him in the tower range. He absolutely has no chance, so we clean up that kill fairly easily. Once you get a kill, it is, again, important to push your advantage. So we're going to clear out mid lane here and try to get this tower. We're pushing up here. No one's really responding, so we end up getting this tower for free. But the one thing I want to show you is what happens next here. Now, back in my first video, I said know your current situation. I just killed this guy. I've got a 2-level advantage, and we're both at full health. So he tries to initiate on me, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be absolutely free. So I just beat the crap out of this guy, CC him when he tries to run away, and I tell him to get the hell out of my lane because he's made a horrible, horrible mistake. Don't ever engage on somebody that has a 2-level advantage over you. It's not going to end well. So this is going to be a play taking place in the middle of the jungle. We end up catching out Feng Mao here. He's not with the rest of his team. He's kind of out on his own. So we stay on him. I use Smash and Grab to CC him. I'm purposely saving my charge just in case he tries to dash away. I want to be able to chase. But by the time he ends up meeting up with his team, he's basically dead. So now we've got a little bit of a skirmish here. It looks like a 3v2. I see that Grux is low, so I end up just ignoring the Grux that's on me and going straight for the Grim. We take him out, and at this point, me and Rampage are just all over this Grux. So we're going to end up beating, you see another teammate there. So this guy is absolutely dead. He's trying to 1v3 at this point, not something that you want to do. Especially when I think he's at a little bit of a disadvantage already. You definitely don't want to try and take on 3 people by yourself. So we end up beating him up for another very easy kill. This is later into the game, 32 minutes in. We're pushing into the enemy base pretty hard, trying to end. I do end up catching this Twin Blast out. He's very squishy, so I'm able to make quick work of him. Now, after I dispose of him, I'm on the enemy core, and I decide to say YOLO and just go for it. Now, I have no backup here, and there's a ton of minions. Also, their team is about to respawn. So, even if you're way ahead, it's not a good idea to overextend because your lead isn't going to matter if their entire team jumps you. You're still going to die. So that's my Grux deck building and gameplay guide. I think you'll have some success with these. They've been very effective for me, and like I said, I've really enjoyed playing this hero, so hopefully you guys enjoy him as well. Definitely leave a like, subscribe, you guys know how to do all that stuff. Comment, let me know what you think of the video. I do plan on releasing more guides in the future. I'm not quite sure what hero I'm going to tackle next, so if you guys do have a preference, leave that in the comment section below. Also, I'm toying around with changing the format. I might make it 2 videos instead of 1. One for the deck building and one for the gameplay guide. So if you guys have a preference, let me know what you thought. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. And until next time, happy gaming.